Hey there, Hobby Warriors. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and you want to stay up to date with all of my latest videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click that notification bell. So today we are going to be talking about how to get started with Conquest by Bellum-Games. Now, I do want to take a moment and thank Bellum-Games for sponsoring this video. And if you stay tuned throughout the entire video, at the end, I am going to share a code that they gave to me so that you all can save some money on your Conquest purchases through their web store. So this is actually the second time I'm filming this because the first time I did not realize my microphone was muted. So here we go. I'm double checking that it's not muted right now, and we're good. So, what exactly is Conquest? So Conquest is actually two games. So you've got Conquest First Blood, which is a skirmished size war game where you're playing with individual models instead of massed units of models that can move freely. And then you have Conquest Last Argument of Kings, which is known as a rank and file war game where your infantry are moving in static blocks and you're more so concerned about flanking and wheeling and all of the sort of maneuvers that medieval regiments would have to go through in order to fight on the battlefield. Now, Conquest, both games, take place in a fantasy world called Ea. Now, Ea works like most fantasy universes. You've got men, you've got magic, you've got other fantasy races. Ea is a little unique, though, in that the technological level is a little bit higher than a standard sort of fantasy world, but not quite approaching sci-fi. A lot of that knowledge on how to produce that technology was lost over time. And you've also got aliens. But the aliens actually kind of fit into the fantasy universe, and we'll probably discuss the factions in detail in another video. But for anyone who's not familiar with Conquest, I do want to run down the factions that are represented in the game. So first up, you've got the Dweghom, which are your dwarves in this universe. They live in mountains and they ride dragons and drakes, and they love fire. They're all pyromaniacs. You've also got the Hundred Kingdoms, which are your standard sort of fantasy medieval humans. Lots of crossbowmen and men-at-arms. You've got people on plate mail, knights riding horses, so forth, so on. Then you've got the Nords, which are fantasy Vikings who realized that Ragnarok was a lie, and they gathered up all of the sort of mythological creatures, and now they're angry. You've got the Wadrun, which are Parabellum's spin on orcs. They are nomadic tribes that ride dinosaurs, which, how freaking cool is that? You've got the Old Dominion, which are zombie Romans. And then you've got the city-states, which are slightly technologically advanced. They have like clockwork technology, Greeks, who have integrated the mythological creatures such as Minotaur and satyrs into their society. Now, lastly, you've got the Spires, and those are the aliens. They have a penchant for gene crafting and cloning, so no one has actually seen an actual spire person themselves. Whenever they send forth their legions, all you see are flesh-crafted abominations that are literally the stuff of nightmares. So, Now that we've got the factions out of the way, how does one get started with Conquest? So recently, Parabellum has changed up their offerings of starter products. They used to have dedicated starters for First Blood and then dedicated starters for Conquest Last Argument of Kings. Now, the miniatures are the same between both games, and in this cleanup of their product line, they put all of the First Blood starters on clearance because the Conquest Last Argument of Kings starters kind of already filled that purpose. So they give you a taster of the rank and file system, but then you also get a full playable skirmish army right out of the box. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of those starter sets. All right, so this is the starter set for the Wadrun, or the orcs of this setting. Now, the product page that I have up right now, if you're viewing this video in the late fall, early winter of 2023, on their web store, they actually have these supercharged bundle deals where you're getting the one-player starter set and then a free unit is thrown into the bundle. But the picture that I specifically have pulled up right here are the contents of the one-player starter set that you can find in your friendly local gaming store or on the Parabellum website. The name will slightly change after the holidays. You know, it'll no longer be the supercharged bundle, but the contents of the starter box will be the same. So you're going to get your hero miniature for your starter force. You're going to get 4 units, and then you're also going to get small format rule books for both Last Argument of Kings and First Blood. So, like I'd mentioned previously, this box is everything that you need to get started in the skirmish game, First Blood, and it gives you a nice sizable force to get started with Last Argument of Kings, the rank and file mass battle system as well. Now, if you are viewing the video again in the holiday season, you are going to get an extra unit thrown in. So that's going to be an extra hunting pack for you if you go ahead and buy the bundle. And you can see right here, starter set, and then you've got the hunting pack, and you're pretty much getting the hunting pack for free since the price of the bundle is only $149 USD. So again, every faction has one of those one-player starter sets, and they also have a holiday deal as well. Now, if you are looking to hop into the game with a friend and you happen to like the Nords as well as the city-states, they've got a 2-player starter set as well. Now, with the 2-player starter set, you're going to get 2 units for each side, a hero, and then for the city-states, you get a brute regiment, which is going to be your Minotaurs here in the back. And then for the Nords, you're going to get a monster. You're going to get the Mountain Jotner, which this picture does not do the model justice. It is absolutely mammoth. If you are familiar with Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, think giant. It's absolutely massive. So the fact that they threw that into a starter set is absolutely fantastic. Now, while we're talking about the size of the miniatures, they are 38 millimeter scale. So this means that the size of the model is going to be a little bit larger than what you're going to be used to from other manufacturers. So for a size comparison, I've got a Polemark for the city-states standing next to a Mandalorian from Shatterpoint, I believe these are 35 millimeter scale, and then this is going to be 38 millimeter scale. So it's going to be a little bit easier to paint just because you're working with larger surfaces. It's going to be easier on your eyes. You're not going to have to like squeeze your brush into super tiny little crevices and worry about messing up areas that you've already painted. So the scale increase is actually welcome for me. And then it also has the added benefit of meaning that typically you're going to require less miniatures to play the game because they take up more space. All right, so they do have one more starter product available, and that is the full 2,000 point army box deals. So, Conquest Last Argument of Kings is played at 2,000 points for a standard size game. And for those people who just want to buy one product, you get your full army in a box. You don't have to worry about buying any other miniatures in order to get started. These are going to be the deals for you. Now, currently, at the time of filming, they only have this available for 4 of the factions. I would expect that the remaining factions will eventually get a starter box deal like this as well. But however, right now it's just the Nords, the Wadrun, the Old Dominion, or I'm sorry, the 100 Kingdoms rather, and the Old Dominion. Now, these boxes, as you can see on screen, they do vary in price depending on the kits that were bundled inside. So, for instance, the most expensive one is going to be the Wadrun because you get a gigantic Brontosaurus that has a howdah on its back. Next up is going to be the Nords because you're getting 2 Jotners, and one of them is the Special Artisan series, which uses a higher quality material. And then your last 2 are going to be a little bit lower priced because you're getting the standard mass-produced plastic kits only in the box. So just to show you how one of these break down, so the Nord's Blood Tide box, you're going to get everything that you see on screen here in the picture. And the nice thing with the Parabellum web store is when you scroll down on these products, it actually shows you the individual price of everything that's included if you were to buy it all separately. So then you can go ahead and calculate how much of a savings that buying the bundle is giving you. All right, so we've covered all of the starter products that Parabellum has available. Now, if you're brand new to Wargaming, you may not know you are going to need some additional tools in order to get your miniatures assembled. So everything that we've seen will come unassembled and unpainted. So that's part of the hobby. You will build and paint the models yourself. Now, most of the units will come on a plastic sprue, just like this. And now for those units, you can put them together with plastic cement, and you will need a pair of, I call them snips. I believe their technical name is flush cutters, but you can pick these up from your DIY store. Any old pair will really do the job. And you're also going to want a hobby knife so that you can clean up any mold lines on your miniatures. Now, as we had seen previously, some of their models do get cast in resin. These are usually going to be your hero miniatures, and then they also have some special edition miniatures that they will do limited resin cast for. Now, resin does get a little bit of a bad rep in our hobby, mostly thanks to Games Workshop Finecast, which is an absolutely terrible material to work with. However, in general, resin will give you more crisp detail. Parabellum's specific blend of resin that they're using, I've had a handful of these miniatures so far, and all of my casts have been perfect. I do want to caution that is completely anecdotal, but the material is slightly bendy, which is good, so that if you drop a miniature, it's not likely to break. And then it's also really easy to cut, which makes it really easy to clean up the model and get them all together. And I can't remember if I said it, but if I didn't, when you're working with resin, you want to have super glue. And that was the whole point of that tangent, was to tell you that you will want to have super glue on hand. Hey, editing Bernard here. So I recorded the entire video and forgot to mention that the rules, they're available for free on Parabellum's website. So before you buy anything, I strongly encourage you to go to their website. There will be a link in the description. You can take a look at the First Blood and the Last Argument of Kings rulebook. And then additionally, Parabellum has a free mobile app. So for Apple and Android, you can find them in the Google and Apple app stores. That has not only your rules, but then your unit profiles for all of the factions in both games, as well as the ability to use it as a list builder as well. And now back to the video. Now, since you've made it through the end of the video, as promised, Parabellum has created a code for me to give to all of you, and that code is JTS Wargaming. I'm going to go ahead and pop it on the screen. There's going to be some links to the Parabellum web store down in the description. There's going to be a link for the USA and Canada, and then another link for the EU and everybody else on the planet. Go to your respective web store using those links, and then at checkout, pop in that code. Again, it's going to be JTS Wargaming, and that will save you 10% off of your purchase. Now, it is the holiday season. I showed off some of the spicy limited edition bundles that they have out there where they're giving you a discount in the bundle. That 10% code will stack. So go ahead, go out there, pick up the faction of your choice, use that code, save a good chunk of money, and then when you do that, Parabellum will give me a portion of their profit, no extra cost to you, and that goes a long way to helping support the channel, keep the lights on, help me update studio equipment, and of course, buy more minis so that I can make more content for you all to enjoy. But that's all I've got for today, guys. I hope everyone is happy and healthy, and keep slaying that gray, and I'll see you in the next video.